Hello everybody, I'm back. We're back. It's been a few days. Uh, Buddy that I'm living with has had the last like 5 days in a row off, which is really uncommon for him and really awesome for us. So we have to hang out and game a bunch and do all sorts of fun stuff. But obviously it doesn't give you a lot of time for sitting at your computer with your headset on talking to yourself. So I didn't do any of that over the last like week. Just been hanging out with him. It's been a lot of fun. But he is back to work tonight. I got dinner done. Got my chores going. It's kind of a sensitive mic. I don't know if you can hear it in the background or not, but the dryer's pounding around. We'll see if that comes in the video or not. So we finished off year 2. Got a bunch of stuff built. You can see here, I started a new game. I wasn't going to be recording, but I wanted to keep playing, so I decided to do a max difficulty game with harsh weather and disasters on. And I'm in year 2 on that one, I think, and it is pretty rough already. I'm not even going to open it because it's just kind of embarrassing. Half my population is dying of starvation right now. But we're not talking about that one. We're talking about this one. We got the bug and the bear going. So we're going to start off our last save, which is going to be this one here. And we had just finished year 2. We got school done. We got the town hall done. Let's pause for a second because it's been a minute since I've looked at all this. So I gotta recuperate a little bit. Looks like we started the Forester Lodge. Food is still struggling a little bit. We got the fishing hut full. Just starting early spring, so we got our people back into farming already. We did that last time around. But we are probably going to want to start this hunting cabin this year. We definitely have plenty of space to put stuff. Yeah, really early on, kind of. Alright, this will be good. We got the town hall up, so that means that we'll start getting nomads. I think we talked about that last time. I'll probably recap a bunch of stuff unknowingly. So yeah, I think I did say something about that every, I don't know if it's 6 years, I don't know if it's a certain amount of time, but we'll have some people show up. We'll start few, and then they'll start growing quite a bit, in which case we'll probably start building stuff like this, the boarding house. It can fit a lot of people. We're not actually going to put this here, I'm just kind of taking a look at it. It can fit a lot of people, but it's temporary housing, so again, I don't know the exact time frame, but people will live in it for a certain period of time and then they just go back to being homeless. So pretty rough boarding house if you ask me. Landlord's pretty strict. Probably no security deposit back. We don't need to pause. Let's get back into the right clicking. So yeah, we kind of know what we're doing here. Started off. Well, we got the builders going on right now. It's been a minute, guys. It's been a minute. Alright, we gotta bring all this back. They're building this house out here for the foresters. Okay. So we'll let them build the house, and then we'll start the hunting cabin after that. Maybe start the other house after the hunting cabin, since there'll be potentially a total of 7 people working out here so far. That's for the herbalist and the gatherer. Speaking of the herbalist, another thing we're going to want to start, typically you'd want to start this a lot sooner rather than later, given that we're doing only medium difficulty and no disasters. It's not quite as necessary. The disasters, you also want wells pretty quickly off the bat, and that'll, obviously if a house catches on fire or something like that, the citizens will use the well to put it out. So you also want it to be in a very strategic location to where a lot of buildings are. It's also one of the reasons why I space buildings. Again, we're not going to get those disasters, but it's just kind of force of habit for me that if you have everything stacked right next to each other, houses, schools, whatever type of building, if one of them catches fire, they'll all catch fire very quickly, as opposed to if everything is separated by land on all sides, it'll take a lot longer for that fire to spread, giving you more time to put it out. Similar to fires, infections we've talked about, those will happen in this game, so we won't want to get this started. Doesn't need to be right away. Usually doesn't happen for the first few years, people getting sick and whatnot, but we will want to build a hospital. And again, another building. Some of these buildings, like the church, get pretty... Oh, that was the cemetery. The church get pretty massive, so you just got to make sure you're allotting enough room for them while not going into other things such as where the foresters and the hunters are working at. It looks like we got a house out here. It looks like, yeah, we are really struggling on food at this point. Fishermen are going. We definitely want to get this started. We want to keep that labor in there because we have the teacher going right now. And this is where you get kind of held up just for like a year while students start going through that first phase. As you can see here, we have almost as many children as we have adults. All 11 of those are going to become students before they become adults. Granted, we're going to have better workers, but we're going to be waiting a little bit longer to get all of that work. So we really want to manage what we're building here. It's what takes the first few years a little while. Eventually you get to a point where you can kind of just let the game flow as you're playing it, maybe slow down the speed or something. For some reason I just like to do high speed, something gets finished, pause it, set something else up, like we're doing right now, and then pause it again when you need to. But it's just my playstyle. I'm sure it's probably not very enjoyable to watch, but I like playing it. That part's still pretty important to me. The other thing that's nice about the high speed is that stuff just gets done a little faster. It doesn't feel like you're waiting on everything as long. So you really gotta get some food out there. Granted, that food is coming a long way from that barn. What we might end up doing is putting another barn here, maybe. And then especially when we get this market in here and this trading post, those will all be pulling from one another, evening out that supply amount, and that'd be really nice once we start getting a little heavier into the game. So it looks like the log limit is already higher than it's going to go because of everything we clear cut here. We haven't been really using it for anything. So I think a good idea is to take at least one forester out, and the fishing is good, the farming's good. We're going to set him as a builder so we can get this hunting cabin done a little sooner. And then I think what we might do is actually hold off on building anything else unless we need to, at least for the rest of the year. And pause like usual. We're just going to take all three of these builders out and put them in as hunters. And yeah, they're going to have a little ways to walk because obviously all those people aren't living here. Unfortunately, we only have 2 people living here and one of them's a student, so... there is only one hunter though, so... they'll figure it out. So the hunters will have to come a little bit further from home, but it looks like they're all pretty much sitting right on the end there anyway. So the woodcutter's good. Full, but we'll leave him in. Actually, another thing we could do, since we are high on wood and firewood right now, we're actually going to jack that limit up right now. And that just gives us a reason to use some of that before the forester starts going strong. And then it'll give us a really nice base to start with when we get the trading post up. And what you can do is take, 250, 300 out of here, because your people don't need it, stick it on the trading post so that you can trade it for crops and seeds and whatnot, and then you can actually set this limit back down to 250 and slowly grow it up, and that way you're not just having to drop a bunch of wood back into the woodcutter all at once. I'm just doing it now because we have an overabundance of it that we can be using. The tools are maxed right now, which is good. Another thing that might be a good idea, especially while we have good source of iron. I'll actually put that up just a little bit too and let it grow. That way it also gives the worker something to do. It doesn't just seem like they're sitting there being useless. We really gotta get some food out of this. We really gotta get some food, period. Damn. Alright, so it looks like the crops are done on the bean field. We'll take those two out, stick them into building, and we'll start building this house here. I don't really know if we need that right this second. Food is our main concern. So actually, yeah, we want those hunters to be able to get to work as soon as possible, so we will build this house. Oh, shit. We had a student die of starvation. This is not how I expected this to go. Okay, well, I guess I was being a little too relaxed or something. It also just seems like not really producing much out of what we're getting here. So it looks like we've already cleared out a whole field, and yet there is no food at all in the storage barn. I can't imagine it's all getting brought directly to the houses. It must be, but there's a lot of food for us to still have houses and people that aren't eating. It seems a little odd. Alright, well, we're gonna keep it going. Looks like we could potentially lose another person to starvation. Oh. Yielding crops just in time, at least. So we had a hunter die of starvation. Go figure. And we got the one person that was a laborer to automatically replace them, as you can see there. So, good example to show what I'm talking about. Bad in the sense that we keep fucking losing people to starvation, and we don't want to be doing that. I'm gonna take this woodcutter right out. We got way more wood than we need. We'll just leave them in as labor. It's kind of a bummer. I wasn't really expecting to lose people to starvation 3 years in. It's kind of not very good of me. But looks like we got a tiny amount building. I'm really curious as to why it seems like we're slowly getting fish, but man, it seems like it's going a lot slower than it usually does. It's typically the difficulty I play on, more often than not. Alright, well, we got some hunters going now. They're going to be able to live close. I mean, it could potentially be the number of houses I have. We're having to distribute the food so much that we're running low on it, but I wouldn't assume that's the case. So a whole bunch of corn. That'll go pretty quickly. The fish just really seems to be having a hard time building. And now hopefully we'll start getting some stuff produced from the hunting cabin. I think I am going to do this now. Only so they don't have as far to walk. It's not a terrible idea. It does kind of cut into all of their land a little bit. I don't think we want to be going out any further than we already are. It's not really another good spot to put it. Yeah, I guess we're just going to have to do this. You will put right up against this house. Stop doing that. Alright, well, we can get these two people out of here for now. You guys did a great job. I know you can up the limit on it. Maybe you can't. Yeah, you know what? It'll look a little funny, but we're gonna stick this barn in here. Stop. Just put that down there so we can see how it's doing. And pretty much all that's doing, as you can see, we really don't have an issue with one as of yet. We will, so it'll be good when it's there. The market's going to take up a huge amount as well. Really big storage capacity for the market. And then obviously you can just, anything you're overflowing on, you can just stick in the trading post, and that'll be good for when the merchants come. But for right now, I mean, this is pretty much just here so that he can walk from here to here. Granted, he's probably going to live here, 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 so that'll work really well. And not have to walk all the way over to here, so almost cutting it in half, probably cutting it in half. That was a rough year, guys. Lost little Alphen. Poor old Tanny. I wonder how old Tanny was. These people also get old and die from old age, start doing mining, and they get rocks falling on them and all kinds of shit. They're pretty clever. They'll find ways to die other than starvation. Alright, so we got that storage barn. We can get this out of here, but hopefully that'll help with our hunting cabin. I'll help with the herbalist as well when we get that going. The gatherer's hut actually isn't a bad idea either. We'll get that going next. And again, just another form of food for our people. Hopefully we can stop starving to death. So food, important, you know, if you didn't know. Water's important too, but you don't need to collect water in this game, which is good. There's a river right there. They can collect water. School going, tools are up to 75 now, staying strong, still got plenty of iron, so we'll just put that up to 100, keep them working. See, we get the woodcutter in there, still got plenty of wood to throw his way, so it keeps him working. I really feel like the efficiency of this fishing dock is not up to par, but I'm probably wrong. And just like that, we're already in early winter. I keep saying just like that, like I don't pause more often than not. I instinctively paused as I said that. Alright, gatherer's hut's looking good. Fortunately we lost a student, so 4 of them just started recently. We got 3 more children born, that's really good. Like I said, that always comes with putting up more houses. They just, if they got space, they will come. And then our kids, oh, lame. Alright, so we'll do a pause. We can have 4 gatherers. We'll do at least 2 for now. Maybe give a builder to start working on something else. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Trying to think. Stuff like the trading post and the market, it really doesn't need to be done right now. The market definitely doesn't. I think we'll do the trading post next. And we can start getting some wooden tools over to them. Could do an orchard. Don't really have a lot of space for it. I kind of wanted to use this area here to grow out bigger buildings such as the hospital. Have a nice hospital on the water. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe put another dock up here somewhere. And then I think I was going to try to take this farm and stretch it right out. We won't have enough for all 8, but I'm thinking maybe if we can get 6 down between these 2 and another 4 here. And then maybe 2 off here, or 3 and 3. We'll figure out some pretty way to do it, but eventually I like to have at least a small field of each crop. We're talking a ways down the road. We can ask the merchants to bring us certain things, but they don't always bring everything we ask for every time. And there's different merchants for different things, obviously. So the guy bringing you, farm animals isn't the same person bringing you seed, isn't the same person bringing you just, uh, different raw material. I think there might be a person specifically for food, and they come, interchangeably. So it's rough. I really always want to make sure that my initial stock is good enough when I first build this thing, because what'll happen more often than not is you'll build it and you'll be slowly putting material into it to trade with a merchant, and I guess I can tell you all this while we're not paused. We are already in winter, so we'll be done pretty soon in the spring. We get the farmers going again. But what'll happen is you get the trading post built and you're slowly putting stuff in there, and then somebody shows up and they have 2 cattle, which is very strange. It's not usually the first ship that comes, but it's something that's super valuable to have. And of course you don't have enough to trade with them to get the 2 cattle, and they end up taking off. You don't see them again for a while, and the next time they bring like 1 chicken or something like that, and it's just kind of a buzzkill. So I like to make sure that I have enough to put into the trading post to be able to trade before actually building the trading post. So I think I will hold off on that for now. We got another person born, definitely growing our population. Just need to make sure we got enough food for everybody, which it still looks like we're struggling on. Goddamn. We'll take this builder out, put them in as gather. We're gonna have to find 4 people to go back to farming in the spring. We'll probably end up taking them from the tailor and the blacksmith and them. So remember maybe 1 or 2 episodes ago when I said this game just becomes people managing? It's a big part of it. There's the building aspect, and there's, trying to make it look pretty and give everything a purpose and give it a good location to where everything else is. And then the majority of it is just pausing every other season to make sure people are in the right spot. So we got early spring. We'll take the... we're down to 283 on the wood, so we might want to leave the forester in. Obviously we're leaving the teacher in. The tailor, we want them producing clothes as much as possible. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of material to give them as of right now, but I think we want to keep them in. The blacksmith, we can definitely take out right now. We have an abundance of tools. The woodcutter, we're definitely going to take out. The hunting, the fishing, the gathering, we want to leave all that in. Until we can get this to stop saying 0 over and over, we really want to make sure that we are focusing solely on food. So you know what? With that said, we are actually going to take that forester out as well. And that gives us 3 people. We're going to take 1 out of gathering, since there's not a lot of houses over there anyway. And that gives us enough for both of our fields. And hopefully this will be the year that we start getting some fucking food. These people need to stop eating so much. It's ridiculous. All these little question marks, they're wondering what the hell their job is now. We'll always wait for that last question mark to go away. When you just grab somebody from one job and put them into another job, it takes them a second to realize what they're supposed to be doing. So the other nice part, obviously it's not, appeasing to the eye or aesthetically pleasing, but all these little question marks when, there is a job to do but there's nobody working that job, those will pop up for you. That's kind of nice. Obviously the pauses we've been looking at the whole time. It's when a building is in construction, you can pause it. We've seen the up arrow with the line above it. That's obviously somebody hitting their max. They don't need to go any further. And then we have this symbol as well, which unfortunately this is our tailor saying, hey, I need leather to make hide coats. We don't have any leather. Why did I come into work today? Came into work because it's a beautiful day, and we don't want to fuck it up. Swiss cheese is playing Counter-Strike. Good timing. Alright, so that's year 3. I'm not gonna call that year a win. We we lost some people. Let's have a moment of silence. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Later.